All right, let's dive into something that, let's be honest, so many of us have struggled with. It's a real mystery that can be incredibly frustrating. We're going to get to the bottom of why keeping weight off can feel like such an impossible uphill battle. Let's start with the big question.
So picture this, you do everything right. You stick to the plan, you see the numbers on the scale go down, you're feeling fantastic. And then what happens? Slowly but surely that weight just kind of creeps back on. It's such a common story, but the real reason it happens is way more complex and honestly more fascinating than you might think.
For what feels like forever, the story we've been told is all about willpower, right? Just try harder. But here's the thing, the science is making crystal clear. This isn't about you failing. It's about your biology. It's a physiological tug-of-war. The moment you start losing weight, your body launches this powerful, all-out defense to get it right back.
So let's kick things off with what we call the rebound effect. And this isn't just a feeling you have. It's a very real, very frustrating, and incredibly common reality. If you've been through it, trust me, you are not alone.
Yeah, check this out. This quote is basically a cornerstone of obesity research. It confirms that this struggle isn't just in your head. It tells us we need to look way, way deeper than just our daily choices. Because there are these powerful biological forces pulling the strings, which brings us right to our body's amazing and, let's be real, sometimes super frustrating defense system.
Okay, so what is this defense system all about? Well, from an evolutionary standpoint, your body doesn't know you're trying to get ready for a vacation. It thinks you're starving in the wilderness. So it does what it's designed to do, protect you. And its number one weapon, a little something called adaptive thermogenesis.
Adaptive thermogenesis. It sounds complicated, right? But it's actually pretty simple when you think about it. Imagine your metabolism is like the thermostat for your body's furnace. Now sure, a smaller house needs less heat. That makes sense. But with adaptive thermogenesis, your body doesn't just adjust for your new, smaller size. It actually turns the thermostat way down, just in case. It's basically trying to become super efficient at holding on to every last bit of energy.
And this right here, this shows you the problem perfectly. On the left, before you lost weight, your calorie burn is pretty predictable for your size. But look at the right side. After weight loss, your body is burning fewer calories than someone else who's the exact same size but never dieted. It's like you're constantly running into a metabolic headwind.
But wait, it gets better. The body's defense system is a 1-2 punch. It doesn't just slow down how many calories you burn. Oh no. What's the other part of the attack? It cranks up the volume on all the signals telling you, hey, eat more. And it does this using some very powerful chemical messengers, your hormones.
And this quote really nails the hormonal side of the battle. It's all about hormones like ghrelin. You might have heard it called the hunger hormone. What the research shows is that after you lose weight, your ghrelin levels can actually go up, sending these intense, nonstop hunger signals to your brain. This isn't just, a craving for a cookie. This is a deep, biological drive that can just plain overwhelm even the most disciplined person over time.
Okay, so your body is literally fighting you from the inside out. But believe it or not, that's only half the story. Now we have to talk about the adherence challenge. Actually sticking with the plan in the chaos of real life. Because let's be real, life happens, right? Motivation comes and goes. That initial fire you have at the beginning is so hard to keep burning for months, let alone years. And thanks to some modern digital tools, we can see exactly how massive this hurdle really is.
Whoa, just look at these numbers from a study on an intermittent fasting app. They're absolutely staggering. After only 13 weeks, that's 3 months, 83% of the users were already gone. And by the 1-year mark, over 97% had dropped off. And look, this isn't really about intermittent fasting specifically. It just shows us the universal, incredibly difficult challenge of sticking to anything long-term.
Right, so it's not just about gritting your teeth and pushing through. So many other things impact whether you can stick with it. Take sleep, for instance. Poor sleep, it's directly linked to weight regain. It can mess with the very hormones that control your appetite, sparking those intense cravings. But on the flip side, things like having behavioral support, that can make a huge difference in helping you stay on track. Okay, so let's use intermittent fasting as a quick case study here. It's super popular, and a big part of the appeal is the idea that it's just easier to stick with. But how does it actually stack up against all these biological and behavioral challenges we've been talking about? Well, the promise is definitely appealing, right? Easier to adhere to? But the reality is, most of the research we have on it is pretty short-term. We have a perfect real-world example, actually. Ramadan fasting. People often lose some weight, but study after study shows it almost always comes back within a few weeks after the fasting period ends, unless they make other lasting lifestyle changes.
It just goes to show you, there's no magic bullet here. Every approach runs into the same fundamental problem of long-term sustainability.
All right, so we've laid it all out. Your biology adapts to fight you, your hormones scream for more food, and just sticking with a plan is incredibly hard. I mean, the deck really is stacked against you. So what do? The solution isn't to fight harder. It's to find a sustainable path. The whole key is to stop fighting our bodies and actually start working with them. This is the big takeaway. We have got to shift our mindset away from short-term restrictive diets and start thinking about long-term alignment. We need a strategy that actually acknowledges and works around the body's powerful defense systems instead of just trying to smash right through them. And you know what? The research gives us a really clear 5-part strategy for how to do this. First, it starts with continued moderate energy control. We're not talking about a crash diet. Second, you bring in both resistance and aerobic exercise, and this is absolutely critical for a reason we're about to see. Third, you make sure you're getting enough protein. Fourth, you optimize your sleep. And finally, you build in a system for behavioral support and self-monitoring. And the whole goal behind this entire strategy? It's simple, but it is so powerful. It's to prioritize losing fat while preserving the muscle that actually fuels your metabolism. See, by protecting your muscle mass, you are directly fighting back against that metabolic slowdown we talked about earlier. You're giving yourself a real fighting chance for long-term success.
And that really brings us to the final big question, doesn't it? Maybe sustainable health was never about fighting a war against your own body. Maybe it's about finally taking the time to understand it and learning how to work together. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.